Hi, I'm Ingrid Carlsen and this is pt.2. I'm so glad that you're here today. If you have been wondering about collaging, or you have done collaging in the past and you love it and you want a project to work on, we are working on my art book that I made, and I will have it linked in the description down below if you didn't catch part one. But today we will be making both of these page spreads and talking about all things collage. So get ready, get your supplies, and let's get started. Today I'm going to go through my process on how I start and finish a collage, and so I hope that it gives you some ideas, it gives you some inspiration, and that you'll join along with me. Also, if you are not subscribed to my channel, make sure that you're subscribed. And since this is going to be a series, make sure you're clicking on the little bell on the videos so that you get notified anytime a new video comes out. So I'm going to start off by telling you what products what I love about collage. You actually don't need a lot of stuff, and what's even better is you can use a lot of your remnants, a lot of your scraps, little pieces of paper that you've been holding on to like these, that you know you're going to use, and so you don't toss them. Or is that just me? And so these are perfect for collage. And so we're going to look at all those. We're going to use everything that we have. Look around your desk. Are there little pieces that should go in the garbage? Use them in your collage if you want. So the first thing I did is I pulled some ephemera, and these are some of the vintage oil paintings from the Golden Renaissance kit. I just pulled these, and I just wanted to show you this. They're both printed on cardstock. This is printed regular, and so you can see how bold the colors are. And then this is printed fast draft, which is a lot lighter, and it gives it just kind of more of a dreamy effect. And I really enjoy working with prints like this. So I printed both, or I grabbed both that I had already printed, and I'm going to use one or both. As far as the background of your collage, this is the part where don't think about it, just grab pieces. So I have my little bin of scraps. I just grabbed these. I think these are Graphics Fairy that I printed on regular copy paper. Remember, if you have pieces that you've printed on copy paper, it's going to bulk your book less. If you have stuff that's printed on cardstock, you're going to obviously add more bulk to your book. So you can plan accordingly. I grabbed these cards and then some like coffee dyed paper. I also have like these little scraps that are on my desk that I can just pull from. So like I said, don't worry about that. We're going to doctor it up, and a lot of times you don't even see the backgrounds that much, and so don't spend so much time on the backgrounds. If anything, spend time on your focal point, on what you want your focal point to be. I grabbed some pencils, starting with these are some watercolor colored pencils, and I think I got these at Dollar Tree in the $5 spot, when these are really nice. And then this is my favorite product. If you've been with me for any amount of time, I've already talked about this. It's the Stabilo All pencils, and then the Stabilo Woody. And it's kind of one of those, if you were on an island and you could only take so many supplies, what would they be? These would make the cut every single time. They are so great. They're water soluble, which means that when you add water to them, and I'm going to show them to you, they bloom and get deepen, and they're really blendable, and it's like they're a dream to work with. I have this one in blue and this one in black, and then this is the exact same thing, but just in like this little, it's called a Woody, and it's just a lot of fun. And so I'll try to have as much as I can listed in my Amazon storefront for that, and also any videos or products that I talk about, just for your reference, if you click right underneath this video, it says show more. Click on that and you're going to see that's the description box, and all of that stuff will be linked there. I pulled some of my vintage tape that I made the other day. If you haven't seen that video, that'll be listed down below. And I also pulled regular masking tape. This is another one of my absolute favorites that I love to have on hand for both journaling, collaging, really anything art. I am going to pull my rusty, there's only a few in here, but I pulled my rusty staples that you guys know I've been obsessed with. If you didn't watch that video, I'll have that link down below. I grabbed my embroidery thread because maybe we'll add a little bit of thread to it, so I'll put that over to the side. Let's talk about adhesives. So I used this matte medium, which is a liquid medium. I don't know how much that'll show on camera, but it's very liquidy. You can also do a matte gel medium, which is thicker. You can use a glue stick. You can use whatever. I also pulled this white glue from Dollar Tree. This is very liquidy, and so I thought this would be something good to show you just in case you don't have the matte medium and you want to see if you want to get started with this, but you don't know if you want to spend that much on it. So you can start with just some white glue. To lay down the adhesive, I generally like to use some kind of paintbrush. The negative to using a paintbrush is that sometimes the glue can get caught in the fibers. If that's going to bother you, then you can use something like a scraper or a palette knife, a squeegee, your finger, you know, anything like that. But what I would recommend for this is that you just keep some water on hand, and when you are done with, as soon as you're done, just like keep sticking it in here. It will water your glue down the next time you go to use it if you're, you know, in between using it. So just keep that in mind. An optional item that I went ahead and grabbed is a brayer. A brayer is just, I don't even know what I would call it. It's just like, I don't know, like this kind of wheel, and it's a rubber. You can get different types of rubber here. You can get like harder ones or softer ones. But what this is good for is if you watch my last video, when I first started this project, I was having issues with the papers laying flat. What this will do is it kind of steamrolls it like this so that it can make a good adhesion to the other papers. So, and then last but not least, this is definitely optional as well, just some kind of binder clips to hold your book together. So I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. We are going to talk a little bit about composition, and we're just going to glaze over it. It's just going to be very easy. We're going to focus on the rules of three. That is where you group things by threes or five, and you might be able to do 7 as well. I feel like odd numbers really work together. You can use this in your house too. Like if you have a bookshelf, when you put 3 pieces together, it's just aesthetically pleasing. It's pleasing to look at. So I've followed that in this spread here. So if you see here, we've got this book page here. So that's number 1. We've got this paper 2. This paper 3, this tag is 4, and then we have this is 5. Now this is different. I believe this is an even number and it works as well. And maybe you can look at it for a second and look at which one is more pleasing to you. The thing that I say about art is that I don't like to get too focused on the rules of art, because I think that is the great thing about art, is that the rules can be broken. And I think that when you push the boundaries and you break the rules in art is when you really get like the good stuff. So here I have an odd number, and here I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so you can look at these, which one looks more pleasing to you. If it's this, then instead of doing the rule of threes, which we're going to do today, do an even number. So I'm going to just turn the page, and we are going to clip this down a little. I'm going to grab some papers. And just put them down. And I'm not thinking about it at all. I'm just throwing them down, as you can see. I'm going to go ahead. I think I was only going to do a 1-page spread, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do 2 with you. Let's see. I think I have some little pieces of like scrapbook paper, some little fabrics, more little pieces, an envelope. So I have these sitting off to the side. Here's a little tiny piece of music paper. I like that. I love music paper. For me, music paper usually makes an entrance in my work. So I'm going to pull that. And I think that's good for now. So the first thing I'm going to decide is how much of the background I want to cover up. And so I'm going to, I know that automatically I love adventures, and the photo's okay. I'm not in love with it. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to put this down here so that it kind of frames this out. And I'm going to start layering. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Oh, you're probably going to want some kind of napkin or towel or something. So what I can tell you is when you're using a liquid glue, you are going to get more buckling. But we're going to try it out here, and then you can see if it's worth the investment to get the medium. I am a big believer in using what you have. I also think that there are products that you need. And what I would say is just think about it. Don't just buy like way out the So I don't know if that caught on camera, but that lay down so nice. And it removed any air bubbles. So that was really nice. I just realized that I didn't even count to see if they were odds or even numbers. So I'm going to lay this down. The main thing, and I think this goes for any kind of gluing, but especially for collage, you're going to want to make sure that your edges get a good bit of glue on them, and that you make sure that they are adhered all the way down. You don't want this. Like in a junk journal, I think that's really cute when it's folded over, but for collaging, you want it to adhere. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and put the whole thing down. It's gonna be thick because this is cardstock, but it's okay. While I'm doing this, I want to ask you how you're doing. I hope you're doing well today. I'm here in Texas and we are finally getting some cooler days, and that's in the highs of in the 90s instead of 110s. So it's kind of a big deal for us. It's been an extremely hot summer. Okay, I want to get this edge. I want to address one other thing. I'm a person that in real life, things have to be squared off for me. I don't like things, if they're crooked, they have to be like purposefully crooked. If they're kind of crooked, like I see this here, this bothers me sometimes. With collaging, this helps me to kind of get past that, and that I don't have to worry about the lines. If that's going to bother you, then you have 2 options. You can either, well, you have 3 options. You can ignore it, move on, move past it because Ingrid said so. You can try to line it up perfectly, or you can avoid to have like these 90-degree angles. And so what I would do is use cuts of paper like this or like this so that you don't see that. Okay, I think we're just gonna cut a little strip of this. And I wanted to do this in real time so that you could see that I'm not telling you, hey, don't think about it, and then I'm sitting here for an hour thinking about it. I'm literally not thinking about it and just putting paper down. Or pieces down, I should say. Oh, actually, this is going to make it 6 if I do this, because if I want my focal point to be a portrait, so maybe I have this little piece. I think we're just going to keep that. I'm going to look through. I don't know if I have a paper punch in here. Give me 1 sec. It's a little bit bigger, but it's okay. Like this here, it balances this color. And again, this might get covered up once I put my painting down or once I add paint on top. Oh, I guess that was something I did not talk about, is you're going to want to have some kind of paint. So you can use acrylics, you can use gesso. I'll use kind of a mix. I feel like whenever I say like, these are the products that you need, I always forget something. I think because I don't create with a clear plan necessarily. Okay, so we have the building of our page already going. So you see how fast you can get these done. So I think for this one, we are going to go, I think I wanted to use her. So I'm gonna grab some scissors and cut her out. There's a good chance I'm going to cut her smaller, but we'll start with the regular size. Actually, I think it kind of works. So I'm losing a lot of that. I still have the color here. I could move it over, but then I lose that. I kind of feel like this is the way to go. I'm going to trim off some of the edge. Even if it goes into her, I think it's fine. And I think I like her right here. When you're working with an adhesive, I find a good thing to be is to work somewhere where you have light and you can see. I don't know if at that angle you can see, but at the angle that I'm at, where I'm standing, I can see where the adhesive is touching the paper, and that leaves less room for error. I think we were around there somewhere. You can also use a Mod Podge as well. I did not mention that. Now, if you want, you can go over all of this with glue, which like I did here with the matte medium, and you can see it gives a little bit of, it definitely, I will say this Liquitex matte medium is really nice. It's not too shiny, but it seals it really nice. But I'm not going to do that because we're going to add paint. So since what I think I'm going to do is let's lay down the pages of this one first, just because I have the white glue here. So this is where you can decide, do you want it mimicked? Do you not want it mimicked? I think I'm going to go up a little higher so that it's not exact. Well, we'll leave it. And just try to remind yourself when you're working, if you start doing like I just did, like, oh, well, wait, I want it to be angled and I want it, just stop, take a breath, and just dive in. It's kind of like getting in that pool. The first, like, you don't want to get in at first because it's going to be cold, it's going to shock you, but it's really a lot easier to just not think about it and just dive in. So that's what I would say is a good way to approach this. Less thinking, more doing. Isn't that like the Home Depot? Home Depot knows. The good part with a wet adhesive is it gives you time to think. I will definitely say that this made it a lot easier to use the roller. We're going to approach this one a little different. We are not going to put our focal point on here yet. So I know I want this to be an even number because my focal point will be the odd. I think I like those little, and I know they're upside down, but it's okay. And so you can see the paper is definitely curling. Something else you can do in between, you can lay out some either freezer paper or wax paper, something in between so that these pages don't stick since they're not fully cured. And you're going to close your book, and when you're done, you're going to let it dry like all the way. But then after that, you can put, so let me stop for a second. Even though some like paint is dry, it doesn't mean it's cured. It doesn't mean that it's like all the way through. It's kind of like nail polish. You can paint it and you think it's completely dry and you go take a nap or go to bed and then you get the sheet marks. Same idea goes here. So you're going to want to make sure that it's completely dry. And then before it's cured, I like to put wax paper on both sides so that nothing sticks together, and then put something heavy and let it sit overnight like that. And it'll flatten out your pages if that's something that you're worried about. You guys catch that crinkle of this paper? So good. So as you can see here, these are vastly different, but they still have some pieces that are cohesive with one another. And you don't have to do this unless you're doing a double page spread. If you were just working on one page, you don't have to worry about this one. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did it again. I need one more page. You know what? I think that I want this. Actually, I don't, because I think that'll make it look too uniform. Let's see. I think I'm just going to put it down there. And this was just a piece of paper that I stamped, probably with a Tim Holtz stamp, but I'm not sure. I don't know them like that. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to rinse off my brush. And close this so we don't have a mess. And let's get started. I like to keep my gesso so that I'm not dipping into it and making a mess in the, I usually buy like a tub of it. So I keep it in this little container. I couldn't even tell you where. Oh, it says IKEA. So I must have gotten it at IKEA. So I think we're good with the paint. I'm actually going to pause you guys and just clean off my brush with some soap and water, and I'll be right back. Okay. I am going to show you two ways, but before we get started, I am going to go ahead and pick my focal point, which I'm kind of, actually I really like that. And I like that it's not rectangular and long. Instead, it's more of a square shape. So it's not exactly like the image on the left. And I like the blues with each other. So I think that's the focal point that I'm gonna use here. So I just have it so that I know it's probably gonna lay here somewhere. Probably right here is where I like it. But we're gonna work on the background page. So you have two options when you're working on a page. You can either glue down your focal point and work around it, or you can do it, you can melt your pages in and then put your focal point in. So I'm going to show you both. So on this, I'm adding some gesso, and all I'm doing is kind of blurring the background. So you can see the gesso is not covering up unless I want it thick. But mainly what I'm doing is just melting the pages, or the papers, I should say, so that it looks more like one piece. And I do not have a formula for this. I'm just going through. And listen, my biggest tip is don't overthink this, because once you do, you'll be like, oh, I shouldn't have put that paint there. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Don't do that. Okay. I'm gonna leave that to dry for a minute. And then here, again, I said that my focal point will be here. So what I'm gonna do is kind of a halo effect. If, I don't have a pencil, so that kind of gives me an idea of where I want this. So I want my edges here to be very organic. And look like it's not thought out, which is harder to do than you think. I'm gonna also just sporadically add some. And I like that kind of thicker paint that you see here, and then down here, I like to add that. Okay, I think we're good with gesso. Unless you want your stuff muddled, I would take a second to dry before you add paints. Okay, go ahead and add some tape. Actually, I'm only going to add it to this side. And you might want to add some glue with masking tape since we're going over the gesso. Sometimes it can come up. Oops, I laid my stuff in glue. Okay, and now we are going to take this and add some marks, and I'm going to show you this little thing. I think I'm going to add a little blue. So where you want it to bleed, we're going to come in and we're going to go over those lines. And some of them you might not want to, and you can leave them like pencil marks. You see how it darkened that? And then at that point, if that's too dark, you can take a paper towel or something and blot it so that you can make it disappear. Or you can take some gesso and go over it and kind of make it disappear. Okay. I pulled out these pinks because I think actually more this like peach. So I think this will be pretty with her dress. And this is very, very light. So on this piece, I'm going to do it without water. And then here, I'm going to add the water first. Oh, I do like that. Try to actually tear that. And now from here, I'm going to decide if I want pink, which I think I do because I'm getting it's a little busy. So I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna grab some like shades of kind of what I call neutrals. So this is from Joann's. I really actually like this brand a lot. Oh, there it goes. Beige, right? And this is Folk Art, which is golden ochre. My husband just walked in here. His eyes grew like, oops. It's like, don't yell at me. Okay, I'm just gonna go in. I really like that. I'm going to deepen that just a little. Whenever you have wet paint, this is a perfect spot for you to add marks. So I don't have a ton of supplies down here, but you can kind of see the marks. We are going to, I think we're going to be almost done. And I'm going to add some dark to it. So I keep trying to talk over the blower, and I don't think you guys are going to be able to hear. So I am, which I did not do, but sometimes I do, is I'm going to darken the edges of the photo to make them pop with my Stabilo. So I'm going to show you that in just a sec. And the other thing that I will point out here is don't be too precious. Don't be precious about it. So when you're precious and you make a mistake, it feels dire. It feels like you messed everything up. It was perfect and you messed it up. And that's not the case. It's not perfect. You're perfect. You're beautiful. Everything you make is stunning. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to take the Stabilo and I'm just going to rub it. I don't know if I'll do the whole thing. We'll kind of play it by ear. And we're going to add this. You're going to see how now my portrait kind of stands out. You're going to see it especially on this one. Darken it. Sometimes this method seems a little counterintuitive because I'm adding, taking away, adding, taking away. But it's just building up layers. And I love that. And while I'm looking at this, I think I want this covered a little more. We're going to dry, and then I'm going to add a little tape. It's not 100% dry, so on this one I'm for sure adding some glue. Okay, I am going to pick this up and look at it upright like this so that my eye can see it, because sometimes when it's laying flat like this, you're looking down on it, and so you're not seeing all the details. And so I'm going to pull it up like this to look at it. And I actually really like it the way that it is. I think, yeah, I have the blues on both sides. I think I'm happy with it. Something else you can add now is like a label or wording or a sentiment or anything like that. I don't think I'm going to, because I have words that I really like. I like adventures in the wilderness. I like who here are, where it says kiss boys. Often, like, there's words here revealed. I really like some of the stuff, so I'm going to leave it as is. So I hope that you enjoyed it. Again, if you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And also, if you like the video and you got anything out of it, if you'll hit the like button, that really helps out my algorithm and helps it to get seen to, or pushed out to more people so that it can get seen more. So I thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.